City's Mayor Pro Tem for invocation and pledge of allegiance.
Oh.
Let us stand.
So we give Commissioner Bell the time to get to her seat.
I got you.
You want to do the invocation? You want to do the invocation?
I can.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The mayor will do the invocation and the pledge of allegiance. Thank you, Mayor.
You're quite welcome. The word of the Lord, it says in Luke 6:38, "Give and it shall be given unto you, good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over." And the word there is reciprocity. Father, we bless you and thank you for the love that you have given to us and how you've shown us caring throughout the day. We ask now that you guide us as we make decisions concerning our budget. And we pray that you would touch the city of Waycross and all of its persons and citizens and communities. We ask now that your hand rest upon us and guide us safely throughout the remainder of the day. And we pray for those who have been bereaved this day as of loss, and we pray now that you cover and keep us in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We want to thank our Mayor Pro Tem for calling for our invocation and pledge of allegiance. And at this time, we look to our city's clerk to read us the notice from our newspaper, and then we'll move into our meeting for the budget.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Public notice, City of Waycross, Georgia. Proposed budget submitted to the City Commissioners for fiscal year 2026, May 20th, 2025, 3:30 p.m., 417 Pendleton Street, City Hall. The purpose of this commission meeting is the submission of the commission of the proposed budget for their consideration. All citizens of Waycross are invited to attend. Handicapped citizens requiring assistance to attend the meeting should make their request to the city manager's office. Telephone number 287-2912. Back to you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. At this time, with this call meeting, we're looking to our presentations to be done through our city's manager and our budget director.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. At this time, Mr. Mayor, I will start the presentation. As you stated, I will hand it off to the finance director at some point. We tried to keep the slides, the face of slides, consistent from last year. We did change a few things because this budget. We were able to move some things around, so I kind of discuss that as I go through. And then once I get done with the face of slides, we'll move into the actual budget proposal book this year. We also made some changes there from the previous year. And then the finance director will come behind me and actually hit the Excel spreadsheet slides at the end of the presentation.
Very good.
So with that, Mr. Mayor, this will be the first presentation. And this year I just want to start with the quick wins and future gains. This is actually my second year doing the budget coming in. And I am really, I say this in full transparency, excited about this budget. A few things have changed, and I'll mention that throughout the presentation. But the team did a great job putting this together. Definitely, once again, to the finance department and the business integrations and information systems department, and then all directors. Everybody gave proper input, proper intent, and they met my goals of some budget savings, which I'll cover here in a few seconds. So we're very excited about this. Big picture first budget, we did decrease the overall budget. That's a big thing. That was the goal from last year to kind of be aligned with our theme this year of divesting and investing. Divesting from practices and procedures and programs that don't bring value to the city of Waycross, and investing in those same services, programs, and procedures that bring value to the city of Waycross. So once again, that intent was met. That intent also lines up with the priorities of the commission and the mayor. So once again, everything's line for line. Everything builds on everything else, like a house being built by bricks. So very excited about that. So I'll go into the slides, Mr. Mayor, and I'll pause at certain points for questions during the overall presentation. So once again, we did lower the overall budget. At the same time, we increased revenue. And that increased revenue is due to a lot of contributing factors. Some of the main ones being definitely our city clerk department. So our city clerk and assistant city clerk. And you'll see the actual numbers in here, but we increased business license compliance. From when I got here, we was at probably like 20% at that time out of the 415 identified businesses. Then in my second year, we may have got to 50%. I think right now we're about 82% in compliance with all our new businesses. And some of that, why we haven't reached 100 yet is because some of those businesses may have departed, and we're still trying to figure that out as well. And then some of those businesses who thought they were grandfathered in some kind of way from business license, we're still trying to collect those dots from those business owners. But regardless of that, you talking about going from 20% to almost 85%. That's some great work by that department. So I'm very pleased with them. Also, this is all to all the directors, and I'll cover this a little bit right here as well. I did give them a goal of finding 5% cost savings in their budgets, and of course they went way beyond that. And some of this you already know. We have definitely, as far as workforce recruitment and retainment, and I'm highlighting only a few things that was done by the directors. So we were saved a lot in salary by combining positions. We did that about, I think, at least between public works, I guess fire to a certain degree, as far as overtime and who does what during those phases. Probably like 8 positions, I guess, close to that, I'm not sure, but yeah, we did a lot. And I'm forgetting human resource, they play a part of this as well, as far as we have to figure out these duty descriptions, combining stuff, and then, and those natures. So that was not initially a goal. Like I said, directors got together when I asked about our overall salary budget. Now the overall salary budget has not changed. I didn't want to divert too far from that in case we have new hires, things of that nature. But as far as savings, they did a great thing by kind of like looking at how we align, how we set up, and just figured out, do we need this position and can it be combined? Another highlight would be the community investment. Mark's team. In the past, we've only had one housing inspector. I think now soon we have 2. If I'm correct, we have 2. So that's doubling the output, and we all know how important it is to get these homes and businesses inspected because our citizens are on a time crunch in many cases, and this is going to double that capacity, and it's also saving us money again by kind of divesting from that one position and investing in 2 other positions. So once again, great work by our directors. Overtime adjustment, this is more on the fire department and police department. I did ask them to look at our overtime usage, and they really went in there and dug into that. In some cases, some of our more senior people come in and assume duties of some of the junior people to kind of save a little bit of money. And this is all important in the end when we talk about the COLA adjustment we'll be asking for in this presentation. So great work by the fire department. I believe y'all were briefed on that during the city retreat about some of his steps adjusting that. Fuel adjustments, that's been our biggest cost since I've been here. Some of it unwarranted because of the hurricanes, so that double fuel automatically. But because we moved to our system of kind of zones, that saved us a lot of fuel now, so we're not just running around everywhere. So we got a single purpose, a single focus, and that's more towards public works and the police department to a certain degree, but they go out there and they do a great job. And I see you got a little typo with the fuel, but we'll adjust that. But great job on them. And then the last part I would say, establish a long-term financial strategy, and that's more aligned with looking at our SPLOST, T-SPLOST, TIA, some other the financial decisions the commission has made with some other decisions as far as rate increases and things of that nature. So that strategy, if maintained, sustained, it's going to do a lot for the city of Waycross. If we can maintain a strategy, and my estimate for the next 10 years, we're going to get a lot accomplished during that time frame. So I'm very excited about that. And that's kind of the quick wins, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to highlight those real fast prior to getting to the actual meat and potatoes of the financial brief. And I'll pause if you have any questions on this slide.
Commissioner, did you have any questions of our city manager regarding the statement he made with the quick wins and future gains? District 1?
No, sir.
District 2?
No, sir.
District 3?
No.
And District 5?
No, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Commission. Next we'll move, and this is the basic slide that you remember from last year. Now, the last financial brief, we had a lot more on here, and I'm excited to kind of cut this slide down. So that means that we did achieve some of our goals from last year, but certain things remain the same. So as far as our budget external inputs that are uncontrollable, although we save fuel, the fuel costs, it was going up. It's starting to go down now, so that might be a good indicator of the overall economy, but it's still a cost to us, regardless of that. Utilities, our grateful mission partners, they provide energy to us. That's still a rising cost. And so healthcare insurance, that's still going up, as everyone knows. It's going to continue to be a cost. And then labor and materials is still going up. And inflation, we're still kind of in a wage inflation war of some sort. We're just hiring and retaining quality people. I think all cities are. And then return on investments. So in some cases, we bought some equipment, did not produce a return on investment, and meters and things of that nature. So we're still paying for those decisions. But I do have a feel-good story on the meters, which I'm gonna go ahead and throw out there in the space, so it can come to fruition, hopefully. But we're excited about it as well still. So requested input decisions. So the only we have this year is going to be the COLA, the 4% increase of COLA. We gave you an update in April about the COLA, 3% or 4%. I sat down with the finance department and we feel comfortable that we can do the 4% COLA increase. Once you look in your budget books, and you have updated budget books, we did have to add a few things from yesterday. You'll see that in there, what the 4.0 COLA increase is. It's not significant right now because that's the only main contributing factor that's going to be a large amount of money. And the finance director will go into detail about how much that 4% will actually cost for us the departments. So, and I forgot to mention, Mr. Mayor, immediately following this presentation, we will have a link online with the budget. We just made a few changes prior to this, and then if we get any recommendation today by the commission, I want to go ahead and add that as well, and then we'll post it today. There'll be a link on our website, and of course it's mentioned in the newspaper ad. You can just reach out to me if you want a paper copy or you want to sit down and talk about it. And then additionally, for those citizens who might be listening right now, watching, we have a citizen budget hearing coming up. I think it's June 3rd, if I'm not mistaken. I might be incorrect about the date, but they can come there for the public hearing. And then we have another one we adopt the budget. So there'll be multiple meetings following this one for them to provide input. And also they can reach out to the commissioners right now if they're watching and get them or ask them questions, and then the commission and the mayor, I will be available to you to make those changes if you receive them over the next few weeks. Some of the budget internal inputs that we can control, still a big deal right now is when the commission graced us by providing that workforce birthday initiative. That's still going strong right now for our workforce. Even though they have birthdays, they don't invite the city manager. But well, that's fine. It's part of the game. But they really love that, and they're real thankful the commission provided that service. Christmas bonuses went a long way last year. It was hard times for a lot of people in the city of Waycross, definitely some of our workforce. So that amount of money went a long way to provide some extra gift for some of their family members. Retirement benefits change. We just started, because we made those changes the first year, started to see some of that, but that was known, identified, so not really a big deal. And of course, the cost of living adjustment, we had the one last year. Workforce pay raises. There are some raises that's already built in the budget. We got a few more we gotta do, and these are some of our on the low end of the workforce. And in those cases, most of those are going to be, I'm not sure the actual percentages, but those will be some of our labor people and some of those who will do pay raises for either getting additional training, additional certificates, and things of that nature, or degrees. Workforce structural adjustments, I kind of mentioned this already. Once again, just great work by the directors about making some adjustments in the workforce structure to save us overall on salaries and then make us more efficient. So, and then sustainment maintenance. Now this is a big deal. I probably should put that on the uncontrollable. As you got briefed yesterday, with the inflation and some things going on with some of our mission partners to help us maintain our streets and water and sewer, their costs went up. cement costs went up, and we were having a harder time maintaining some of our roads and streets work. But with the overall financial strategy, I think that's going to level out in this couple of years. And with that, Mr. Mayor, I pause. You see the magic number down there, 42 million, now down to 40 million.
Thank you. Any questions of the commission?
Yes, Mayor, I have a question.
Commissioner Felder.
You mentioned changes that were made in the updated budget book in comparison to the previous book you gave to us. Where are those changes located? I didn't see where they were marked.
Yeah, I'm gonna send that to y'all in a little bit. It's just training. We updated by, I think it's about $7,500. We did increase the training in the finance department. That was a recommendation by the audit that kind of slipped through. So I did increase their budget. I think each department went about $1,000 as far as training, so they can get this training that they need. We made a few adjustments in the city clerk department as well as far as training, and I think that was really about it right now. And then we went back and cleared up some of the numerical errors. Some of the math was off, and we also went and added a table of contents. We adjusted the pages. Some of the pages was off, and then we had some misspellings in there. So it was mainly misspelled words and stuff of that nature, and those few changes with as far as training. And as we go along, if we find anything else that might have got misinterpreted or need to be updated, commission just let me know. We'll make those adjustments. Like I said, that was a recommendation by the audit. I want to make sure that we captured that because we do want to make sure, because the finance world changes so much. And that's a goal of mine too, to get them out to do more training, not just the director, but definitely the clerks that work in the finance department. So
I think that's good that we have that opportunity for the training necessary for our personal growth, but also for the growth of our community as we're growing. This is very good, actually looking through it and noticing that you did correct the typos and going through and doing the grammar. And thank you for the content page. It makes it easier to find where things are located. So we really appreciate it. Thank you.
And Mr. Mayor, I'm gonna try
I have a follow-up question.
And Commissioner Felder
Yeah.
said she has a follow-up question?
Yes, I do. Thank you. You mentioned about training, an increase in training for employees. What about the commission?
So if the commission deems they want to change the training amount, they can. We'll take a vote on commissioner, and we'll add that as well. So like I said, I know we're gonna make some. That's why we didn't post it yet. So if the commission deems they want to increase their training travel, we can take that concession right now after we do the budget presentation, and we'll add that as well.
Very good.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I'm gonna move on next to the actual overall budget program. I'm gonna try to at least. Let me. All right. I think everybody hopefully can see that in the audience. And like I said, Mr. Mayor, we tried to do something different this year. We definitely wanted to. This will cover the actual budget, but also we just wanted to give the citizens a true year review of how the budget, how it impacts them, and kind of highlight a few things that each directorate did. And once again, this builds on the overall budget. So a change from last year where we just had the sales spreadsheet. Also on this, I don't want to talk this whole presentation because they have 101 pages in this budget book, but I will stop on a few pages to highlight a few things. I just want to provide the commissioners like the meat and potatoes of this part of this, and then once we get to the back to the actual Excel spreadsheet with the numbers, if they have questions, then the finance director will kind of answer those questions. So of course we got the front, Mr. Mayor. We'll move on to the next slide. I know the commission cannot see that, but you have an updated copy in front of you, paper copy. And for those who are watching, if you're having a hard time seeing this, my apologies. It is a lot of information. Hopefully you have a big enough phone or TV to view that. But again, after this meeting, let me take that back, Mr. Mayor. If we get any additional recommendations right now, then we'll make it tonight. And first thing tomorrow morning, we'll post a link with the updated version of the budget book.
And according to what I believe you documented and placed inside of our budget book, there was a scheduling that you utilized from the Georgia Municipal Association.
Correct, Mr. Mayor.
And it's the date for that actual dispensing of the link to the community as well as to us, it was the 22nd. So you're going to actually be a couple of days early. So that's
Correct,
good.
correct, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
And Mr. Mayor, this is the table of contents that was requested by the commission. And this kind of moves into, is it catching up? Let me make sure. And this is just the first slide, just kind of highlight who we are, what we do. Throughout the presentation, you're going to see the mission statement and the vision statement voted upon by the commission 3 years ago. It has not changed. Some of the things we added this year was a letter from our message and a letter from our mayor, just kind of discussing just everything in a broad context of what's going on with the city of Waycross and how the budget affects those citizens. And I won't read it word for word. Mr. Mayor, you wrote that yourself, so you know what it says.
Yeah, I do.
So for those who might be watching, I'll leave a few seconds for you to read it. But once again, we'll have this posted pretty soon, and that way our citizens can read the letter from the mayor, just discussing the highlight or airplane view of the city and what's going on financially, and as well as a year review of not just what we did with the budget, but what we did as a group in totality over the last year. We had a lot of events going on. A lot of commissioners, they had a lot of events going on, so it kind of highlights those things. And next, Mr. Mayor, now we got this from another city. You know, I always give respect where it's due about just making sure that pictures say 1,000 words. I know we've had some questions here recently about the city's involvement with citizens, and I just think it was a great adoption by ourselves to kind of show our citizens, because everybody doesn't really follow social media sometimes, and then just to be honest with you, on a lot of these events, we don't have the great numbers. Sometimes we have a lot of numbers, but sometimes we don't. So throughout the presentation, you're going to see just seeing the commission, the directors, the city in action, is a word for, with our citizens. Then next, Mr. Mayor, is a message from me, and mine kind of goes a little bit farther from your message. Mine is a collaboration of some of the thoughts of the commissioners that I've kind of retained over my time here. It outlines the vision and the mission statement again. It kind of discusses the priorities that we voted upon my arrival, our 10-year plan, what we're doing to get there, and a few other things. So I try to keep it simple. Like I said, we're trying to keep it simple for our citizens. But I thought it was important that we put these type of documents in here so they can know, with the mayor being the kind of face of the city, and then the city manager kind of being the operational leader of the city as far as day to day. Just again, some pictures again. Next, Mr. Mayor, we moved into the city commission, and we tried to, I know we went to, I don't want to confuse people now. This is showing the districts. I know most of our maps now show the zone coverage. I don't want to confuse anybody. So this is showing the districts and not the zone coverage that they get every day. Kind of showing the districts, who they are, the locations, and then kind of talking about the mayor and commission's guiding principles, and we'll kind of hit on those here in a few seconds. But some things that we picked up on speaking with the commission over the years, of course, and I'll talk about a few right there, because most of our commissions are really striving for economic development, getting businesses here, helping businesses get here, getting jobs here. Especially those commissions who have business districts, connecting citizens to parks and recreation. Highlight that real fast. So we got 3 parks. They're currently being renovated, and right now projected date, being conservative, is 17th of July. But as we all know, things can happen. That's the projected date right now. But that was one big thing of the commissioners getting those parks redone. 3 of the commissioners had a lot of input on their specific parks. So we'll be getting, just so everybody know, 2 additional splash pads, and those parks will have restrooms at them moving forward. On that note, and go back to the overall financial strategy in the SPLOS, the city will be collecting $300,000 out of those hard-earned tax dollars from our citizens and take that money to apply to the rest of the parks. So I know most of the commission has plans and desires to do upgrade the other parks, and I know we'll talk about that at a later date. With that money, we'll try to pull out this year, and then if it's a case where we order stuff, we'll go ahead and order it. I know we order some stuff right now, but if it's a big fix, I just ask the commission. We kind of think about the weather, hurricane season, and then right into the winter season. We might not be able to start till sometime early next year. Just consideration. And then just, of course, leading with purpose and leading with cause and focus on infrastructure. And again, that's the city commission in action, Mr. Mayor. Now some of these are recent pictures, but we wanted to highlight some of the things that the commission does. Of course, we're talking about infrastructure projects that they do. Hurricane relief, all the commission was out during these 2 hurricanes, helping out citizens. And this is tied to the budget because all this had a cost to it. The park stuff, recognizing the memory of Sergeant Sanders, feeding the homeless, all these things. And I say a cost to the budget. It might not necessarily mean funding or monetary, but sometimes it's just time, and time is the input of the budget. All right.
There's a question from Commissioner
Yes.
Felder, or comment.
Yes, a question. Thank you, Mayor. This goes back to page 6 of the budget book regarding the map that is shown.
Mhm.
This is the 2011 map, correct, of the districts? This is current?
It should be current, Commissioner, yes.
It is.
Yes. All right.
You see the street right there.
Thank you.
Okay. Next, Mr. Mayor, the next slide is going to be the city in brief, and this is kind of a collaboration. This was kind of spearheaded by the business integrations team, just highlighting everything that's going well here in Waycross, Okefenokee Swamp. Everything we have that we bring to the community that highlights the wonderful city that Waycross is, for those who might not know. And then there's some data and some stats as far as population. And yes, we have had some decreases in population. And yes, we had some decreases in cost of living, what might be considered a good thing. And yes, our poverty level has increased somewhat, but that's the same way across the United States of America. And we are doing everything we can from the city's portion, is led by the mayor and commission, to positively affect those numbers. But there's only so much we can do, and we'll talk about a little bit of that as we go through the budget. And we did this slide just so, just to start the narration and start the conversation with our citizens so they can understand the overall budget aspect. Next, Mr. Mayor, we're gonna go into our guiding principles. And of course, this is some things we've been talking about here, city ethics, transparency, fiscal accountability, integrity, honesty, innovation, creative solutions, responsive customer service, responsible ethical behavior, leadership effectiveness. A lot of this can be tied in to the budget by creating that app, which is value added. It reaches citizens at an all-time rate at this point in time. Respecting and caring about all employees and all people. So we're trying our best. I know we had a few situations this past year, but I think it made us stronger. Definitely as a city, to look at ourselves and our shortcomings, and we fixed that. That's why one of the guiding principles, to get innovative. So we wanted the citizens to kind of see how these principles kind of tie into the budget, and they will tie into the budget as we go along with the presentation. Next, Mr. Mayor, is the city priorities. Everybody's well aware of these city priorities. They have not changed since the last 18 months, although we added a few extra ones over time. Core service delivery, and those who watch, you can read what's the net bin or bucket. One of our biggest ones, infrastructures, and this will be covered a little bit as we go down the line about our improvements in the infrastructure. Once again, I'm very satisfied with that from my first 6-7 months here, and the previous few years before that. Just looking back, what was done, not done. Our team, engineering department, our mission partners, public works, everybody involved with that. They're doing a great job of pushing things forward. Got a long way to go, acknowledged, but just wanted to mention that. Of course, quality of life. And then the last part of that, probably our most important, well, I won't say everything's important here, but our city workforce. Got a great team. We're trying to do more to introduce that team to our citizens. A lot of times they can't see some of the unknown work. I'll go back to some of our departments that you see police and fire and public works every day, not necessarily everybody else, but they are holding this place together by supporting our bigger departments out there with our citizens. So we got a great team, we got a great workforce. I think everybody can recognize that. There's no question about the workforce and the effort they provide every day to the citizens in the city of Waycross. Next, Mr. Mayor, this is just kind of letting citizens know how we kind of set up. Of course, it's the mayor and the city commission, then myself, and then I work with all the departments on providing services. Again, highlight we got a great team. At this time, Mayor, I'm going to move into the departments. Of course, I will highlight everyone in a little time, but if the commission has a specific question they would like to ask a department head, I will defer to that department head and let them speak on that at this time. Just letting everybody know we have about an hour left. Okay, and I know we need to get to the actual Excel spreadsheets as soon as possible. With that, first we'll start with the business integration and information systems department led by Mr. Simmons. And if you look at his year in review, one of the main things that was a focal point during my in-brief, well actually my interview here was how do we reach more citizens? How do we talk better? How do we communicate better? And I would say if you read that first bullet, we reached out to over 6.7 million views. And that's about 100-time improvement since the day I got here. And that's because his department worked hard on our social media presence, and on our presence in the city. There's some things that we have not talked about, but this department does go around, meet with the business industries, they communicate, they talk with those individuals, so they get insight for those individuals. We're getting a lot of help right now with our business license practitioners right now from some key people. Mr. Easton Smith, I'll mention him. He's been a great asset in helping us improve business license procedures, and I'm very thankful he came on board in a positive manner to kind of assist us. And the last piece, I don't want to talk too long on here, but the Tyler Technologies for Better Service Delivery, Data Management, and Inter-Department Coordination. This is going to be a really big deal when it's done. Y'all heard me say this before about the integration with all our systems here in the city, and each department. Also, it's going to be really better served for our citizens. They can pay and play in the way they want to here in the near future. It will make our app more robust. It'll make our communications better. Eventually, and I'm not sure when it's going to happen, but maybe September, October, when they can go into the system as well as commission. You can look in there if you want to know how much we spend on June 1st, April, whatever it is and what it was. You should be able to do that, correct? Yes. So that's going to put another level on transparency. I don't think many cities do. Like I said, we're very transparent here, and if we miss something, we'll correct it. But I look forward to that day when that happens. So any citizen can pop on there and see how much water sewer was collected for that week, and they can make their own determination from there. And the great thing about this is everyone has the correct information and they informed information, and that way they can make a better informed decision on how to respond. So, and I pause there on that department.
Commissioner, do you have any questions of the city manager? District 1?
No, sir.
District 2?
No, sir.
District 3?
Yes, I have a question, Mayor.
Commissioner?
And this is directed to Mr. Simmons regarding the new Tyler technology system. I think that we had a discussion about the U card, and you said that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but in the most recent presentation you did, you said that this system will not accommodate the U card by United Healthcare.
I think it will. There may be some extra steps with the U card,
Okay.
but it will, if I'm correct, it will accept it, but there may be an extra step as compared to your Cash App or your Venmo card.
Okay.
But there's a workaround, an easier workaround for that system, for that card, rather.
Okay.
And we plan to have, we're actually trying to get now, I hope I'm not speaking too fast, but a kiosk in the lobby,
Yes.
so we can help customers with some of those issues like that.
Okay. So you're saying that they will be able to use it, but just in the lobby, using the kiosk, but there'll be some extra steps involved?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Gotta keep going now.
And District 5?
No, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
Next, Mr. Mayor, we'll move on to the city clerk department, and I want to say For structural purpose, we have not changed in the chart yet. It will be coming. I want the city clerk to stand alone. I did some research about that position. I think it's better suited. She's not directly underneath me. For some of the information she handles, she works directly with the city attorney. And once again, this is more geared to transparency. Is that me? Okay. Once again, for transparency. And I've already highlighted this, but you can read it there too. Just 115 new business licenses, approximately 85% compliance rate with business licenses. Just extra revenue created from this, and that extra revenue can then in turn be put back to the efforts for supporting our citizens. So great job by that department, Ms. Powell, and Mr. Nixon is here sitting today, and they do a great job with customer service. As you know, this can be difficult sometimes interacting with citizens who might have strong passions about how much stuff costs, and they work very well. Both of them keep a level mind, and I've never seen them not one time not resolve a matter with a positive result. And I pause there on that department.
Any questions of our city manager? No. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Next, Mr. Mayor, we're moving to community improvement. Mr. Hawkins' team, and you can read that for yourself, and citizens can read that as well. This is another one of those jobs that goes unseen sometimes when you talk about the amount of animals that we're dealing with every day. We have a lot of pet lovers here in the city of Waycross, and some of them are not responsible, and then we are called in to be responsible for those pet owners, and they do a great job. His team, I think Saturday or Sunday, I was riding around, and I want to say we picked up some animals. They had a truck out there. I'm not picking the animals up, but they do ride around pretty much 7 days a week, trying to help out citizens with animals. And then too, more on the business side on permits. I know it might be some different understanding of how this works, but Mark's team does a great job too. Allie, who is another unknown hero, explaining the processes to citizens, and I'm very proud of his team too. And again, back to Mark's looking at being innovative and trying to save us some dollars on salary, and then creating another whole additional body to do inspections is going to really pay off down the road once they get to going every day. So just want to highlight that a little bit. And if you got any question on that, I'll pause for that department, or if you have a question for that director.
Commissioner, do you have any questions of the city manager concerning community improvement?
Mr. Mayor, I have a question, but I'll wait till we get to the numbers of the issue.
Commissioner Nelson has questions, but he'll hold his questions until we get to the
Correct.
spreadsheet.
All right. And next, Mr. Mayor, move on to our engineering department. And there are a lot of folks that help out with engineering and firms and public works help out a little bit. But the engine up there that kind of makes it all go is Ms. Strickland, who works way above her pay grade on getting stuff done for the city of Waycross. Said it many times before. There are probably 4 or 5 people here who could be city manager within the city of Waycross and do a pretty good job, and she's going to be in that 1% right there, knowing what needs to be done for serving our citizens, and then going, like I say, way beyond, what she gets paid to do. Some of those things you can read there for us, the year in review. Site plans are a really big deal. If you listen to me as a business, site plans are a really big deal. Must be turned in first before anything else. She worked with FEMA and the finance department for our FEMA feedback, technical drawings. So far, it says 11 city streets paved. This is only counting the ones that have done already, not the complete, not the ones we're currently working on. And as you know, she gets out there with Mr. Pope, city engineer. They go out there and really go make sure stuff is being done correctly when concerned with those city streets and roads and a few other things. So, really proud. We've really kind of picked up the pace on the engineering part. Definitely with Mr. British coming in from the firm. He's down here a lot more than, I'm just being honest, a lot more than the previous gentleman. I know he got sick and he had to slow down a little bit, but Charlie's down here quite frequently. So he works hand in hand with this department, ESG down at the water and sewer plant, and then of course Public Works, and they go get it done. And they've also saved us some money as well. You can't see it right now, but over time you'll see as we stock load some equipment. They help identify our lift stations. As far as that, about programming when to buy stuff now, so we already had it ready to go to start. As far as inventory and life cycle, so just a lot of work. And these are some things. This is the stuff that is we consider not sexy. You can't see it, but it's also the things that break the bank, and they're doing a great job over there. So I'll pause there for any questions.
Commissioner, if you have any questions, please feel free. Hearing none, we move forward.
Okay. Next, we go to the finance department, and I'm not gonna stay here too long because he's gonna talk here in a little bit about some Excel spreadsheet. But again, I will say about his team, and well, Ms. Jackson's in here. And, okay. So, great team, procurement, just finding us cost savings, and they do a lot of work, last second work too. Do a lot of good, what I call good fairy work as well. I might have a good idea, and they got to figure out how to make it be good on paper when I come in the morning sometimes. So a great team down there. They put this, they help Mr. Simmons' team put this new packet together, this budget book, which I think sells the picture, not sells the picture, projects the picture a lot better about the city of Wayne Cross's budget. So I'm going to pause there because, like I say, the finance director, Mr. Smith, will speak here in a minute at the end. Next, Mr. Mayor, we're going to go into the fire department. And, another tough job. And Chief Blackbird just got on here recently, after serving at, I want to say he was the second for a long time, but yeah. He's the first now, and he's coming from a long line of public service with his father. But it's been a busy year with fires. Now, I gotta say, I wish it wasn't, but it's been a busy year, probably too busy already. And not just the fires, but he helps with the police. We've had some bad situations with some cars and some canals and things of that nature, and that's the fire department as well out there helping out with that. They also help out with EMS. Yeah, so just a lot going on here. These are stats that we have to promote them so everybody can know how much it's costing, because there's a cost associated with all this stuff. But at the same time, I'm hoping that we can, with the help of the citizens, get some of these calls down, especially all the fires, because it can be a bad situation if it keeps going like it is right now. So, service calls, I need to put that in too real fast as a plug. This is no cost to the citizens, but they go put in smoke detector installations. They sit down. I've watched one day where they did more than smoke detectors with one of our more seasoned citizens who need help on other areas. So the fire department does a lot of volunteer work too that we don't highlight all the time because sometimes you just want to do it for the goodness of your heart, and they do a great job getting out and serving the community. They go to the public schools, educate our young folks on fire. Sometimes that goes a different way from young folks' interpretation, but the effort is there. And like I say, Chief was probably one of the, as far as figuring out his overtime, that was really become an issue. He really got in there and figured that out, and we're working better. And he's picked up with the previous chief's plan about reorganizing the fire department so they can receive better pay, make the promotions worth it. As far as going up the ladder, and this overall getting morale back to a good place. So I'll pause there if any questions about the fire department.
Okay. We have a question from
Yes.
Commissioner Bennett.
Thank you, Mayor. So you said they come out and change the smoke detectors. I have two that needs to be changed.
Okay. Well,
I mean, the roof is, my ceiling is too high.
Oh, yeah.
But no, seriously, do they go out and change if a citizen asks them?
yes.
They will go out and
You want
change
to talk on
it?
that, Chief? Okay.
Okay.
You got about 2 seconds. You better keep going.
Mayor, Commissioners, yes, ma'am. If you call the office, call Miss Lisa, and
Yes,
she'll
sir.
schedule, an energy company will come out, change the battery, or install a new one, whatever it needs. No charge to the citizen at all for any of it. So
Thank you.
we've recently, I know, short time, the American Red Cross we're starting to partner back with them again, and they will provide us smoke detectors free of charge as well. So
Thank
We
you.
was able to do that for the rebuilding together. We put 2 smoke detectors in every house that was refurbished inside the city limits. A few weeks ago, I think we did 2 for each house. So,
And thank you for putting one in mine as well.
absolutely. We're glad to do it.
I'm gonna call you in the morning.
I need about
And
3.
this is important because the number of fires we have could have been prevented had they had a working smoke detector. That's one thing we're learning, so. All right. Next, Mr. Mayor, we'll move to Human Resources and Ms. Hendricks and her team. And this is one of the situations where you can't really see the hard work that they do keeping us all together. She is constantly trying to find improvement with our healthcare and our insurance in general. Also, just the retention. And so retention of our quality workforce. She works with me mainly on just looking at inventive ways to kind of get pay spread. Once the director kind of brings up a possible solution, then she takes the football and she figures it out from there. She also provides me, I would say, insight and recommendations sometimes where I might be missing something with issue in the workforce that goes beyond performance, and that's needed as well. So I appreciate her team, and they do a lot of other things. The main thing, they get us more employees, but and she also worked hard to get us some cost savings this year. So I want to thank her team as well. And I apologize if any questions on human resource.
And Commission, floor is open for any questions you may have.
All right.
I understand.
Next, Mr. Mayor, is going to be the police department. And once again, I'm proud of the police department and fire, but most of their stats mean something's going wrong. So I hate to be that way, but but the main, well, not gonna say that. Total cost of service, they do take care of people, and you see there's almost 30,000 calls so far this year where they get out there and when citizens calls. During the hurricane, officers was driving neighborhoods, getting out of the cars, climbing over trees, all those things. If they got a call, and we got a lot of calls from people outside of Waycross saying, "Hey, my grandmother's in Waycross. She answering the phone. Gotta go check on her," and they did that. Did that too while working beyond their normally scheduled duty hours. So highlighting that. And then of course, just some things they've done too, as far as cases and speed and all those things. They're working hard right now to figure out this uptake of speeding we have in the city of Waycross, and I won't touch too much on that, but just know they're working on that. And we also know that we have had a series of break-ins, car theft, or theft by auto, mainly because people leaving their car doors open. But they do have a Chief Cox team is handling that, working with some other law enforcement agencies across the south east, and I feel like I think did we get somebody last? Can I even say that? Arrested 2 last night. They're doing so, but it is a lot of. It's a group, but 2 down is 2 down. So and again, Chief Cox came in too, with, like the other directors, and moved some positions around and save us a little bit of money. Also looked at this overtime usage to save us a little bit of money. So I'm thankful for that. And then again, he gives good guidance and insight on some of our community issues and concerns that he's involved with, and it's about community relationships, and he does a great job with that. So I pause there for the police department.
Any questions for the police department? No. Thank you.
Next, Mr. Mayor, I forgot to put his face up there. There you go, Chief Cox. Everybody, let me leave it to 5 seconds so everybody can see your face.
There you go.
All right. All right. Next, we move to Public Works. Public Works Director, Matt. Matt has been new to this too, so he's doing some discovery learning, interacting with people who might not be so happy in some situations, but he's learning real fast how to figure that out. So I'm happy about that. So I ain't got to do it. And he's done a lot too since he's been here. Again, he's one of the first ones to kind of look at, workforce roles and responsibilities and kind of determine how can we get more efficient, and then how can we retain our talent. I think he brought in one of our younger mechanics. I'm not sure if he's still there because he just want to work so much. He probably wants to go somewhere else and work too because he's always working. But he done a great job with that. He also has done a great job, and this is why it's important to understand the budget. On his training budget has went up a little bit because we do want to make sure that our public works has the training to do some of the new patching, and sustainment of our streets and roads. So he sets it up pretty much every quarter, working with GDOT and sister cities. And he takes his workforce and they get trained up on some stuff. So they're getting really trained up. So when citizens see that uptake maybe in training dollars, that's where that's coming from. Because we want to have a training and ready workforce to do their jobs out there for citizens. So special kudos to his team. And then again, they got a lot of work to do. You know, you see the stats there. Almost 30 miles of canals, over 80 acres of cemetery, all the right-of-ways. And there's some things they can't get to simply because the staff used to be twice their size when the city was much bigger. But they go hard every day. And then Matt also developed the zone approach that allows us to do more with less by doing the zones. And then sometimes we hit 3 districts in one day. And then we ought to keep up better that way. So I will pause if you have any questions on public works.
Commissioner, do you have any questions concerning public works? Yes. Commissioner Roberts has a question.
Excuse me. Thank you, sir, for the work y'all do. But if you, and I hope this is the right department, but the problem on Vernon Street and Buckham with the neighbors going down dumping trash along the road, I mean, can we get some help with that?
Yeah, that's more police and community. But they're aware of it, and we're trying to do some things to do that. That goes back again to us increasing our fines and fees for illegal dumping and some other things, because right now it's really not a deterrent to do certain things. But I will say to the public right now, versus go dump stuff, you can simply call. You're already paying for it to a certain degree, and we'll come pick up your trash, your beds, big items, anything except for tires and fuel. So it's there for our citizens to use versus go dump stuff. They don't have to dump anything. We also, twice a year, do the big pickup. And again, just call down to Public Works or use the app if you want to get stuff picked up. There's no reason to dump trash anywhere. It's actually going to cost you more once we do catch you versus just calling for it to get picked up.
All right. Thank you, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. And I'm trying to catch back up on schedule. We almost caught up to give the Excel spreadsheet some time. So that's all as far as the departments kind of selling what they're doing and showing what they're doing and how it ties to the budget. Next, we move into the budget presentation. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here. We pulled this straight from GMA. And what I want to do this year is pull the share about how it budget, how it starts, how it's targeted, how it's dated, how it arrives, the steps on what gets done, the definitions of everything associated with the budget, and then how it's voted on. So it's about 10 pages in here to kind of do that. I will go through this real quick. But that first page, page 21, is just kind of showing, like I say, the initial guides for the budget. And for those citizens, once we put this online, this is right from the GMA website, and we stick to this shell. That next page is just talking about definitions, assets, the budget, the calendar, expenditures, what a fiscal year is versus calendar year, liabilities and revenue, some key definitions there. And then that next page, that just kind of goes into some more key terms and definitions, what funds are, proprietary, just kind of naming what the funds are, capital gains project funds, permanent funds, special revenue funds, because we did recognize last year a lot of our citizens don't understand the budget, and that's been proven through our surveys we put out and feedback for one-on-one with select citizens. So again, pull straight from the GMA website. You go to here to get more information. Page 24 is just discussing just the fiscal year and the budget. Now this is a shell. We don't necessarily follow these dates, but it's just showing you how it can set up in the required meetings. And then if you go to page 25, it just goes over the funds in more detail. So when I say capital projects, it's a fund for that in that nature. Enterprise funds, you know, we're talking about Georgia Power. So these are things that citizens might not clearly understand. So I would advise and encourage all citizens, once this is posted, you can look at this. But more than that, go on the GMA website so you truly understand how a budget works versus getting information from somebody who does not. So the next page, page 26, that's just discussing the people involved with the budget. You know, it has the finance director appear on top because if anything happens with the budget, he'll get fired first. And then we have department heads, then the city manager, myself, and then the key role, the legislative role being the mayor and the council, and then public input, like we have a public hearing here next month prior to the adoption of the budget. So, and then the next page kind of goes into what we've done with the department leads, how we kind of process the budget this year, and how we projected revenue, which will be on page 28. Going through page 30, and then on page 30, if I can get to it, it kind of goes into the other review process. So it's just going to further detail about that, and then it covers some of how the code works on Georgia State legislation code, how that works about budgets, how to implement budgets, who can spend what, who can save what. It goes to our auditing system on page 33, and these pages kind of small up here, so I can't get 33. So it kind of goes into auditing, and I will say right now, we always have questions on our audit process. So this year was the first year we met the audit on time, as far as, well, last year we met it on time too, but it was this year we kind of met it before time. And we did have some findings in there, and some of those findings require, like I said, a change in software. Once we get this change in software, we'll be able to meet those. I think we got three main findings left. I discussed one with the training for our finance department, and then just reconsolidating our monthly expenses, which we already started doing on a better basis. But once we get that new software, that should fine tune that process. That should kind of get rid of all our findings on the audit process. It has been a little while, but most cases with the budget, it takes about 3 years to turn the budget around for stuff like that, for those who work in the industry as far as creating and maintaining budgets. Kind of goes into some of our other reporting systems, budget message and budget summary, all which is in this right here. The budget message was starting with the mayor who gave us a message. There's a summary in the back of this, so we followed it line by line as far as creating this part that you have before you. And then it goes into just, again, some of the, on page 36, some of the definitions and disadvantages of doing budgets certain kind of ways. When you talk about doing a calendar year, a physical year, and stuff of that nature. And it goes through all that. And then it kind of stops on page 40 where it goes into the summary. And then with that, we'll move into the actual budget presentation Excel sheet by the finance director. I gave him 30 minutes for a reason. But I will say, Commission, if you have any input that you want to do or add, I don't want to. If we cannot do what we did last year, you just whatever you want to recommend, take a vote on it. We're gonna add it. Just that simple. Now we might have to look at the numbers if you want to make a major increase in something. So just so the revenue and expense kind of matches. But I don't foresee anything that significant, that will need to be done that way. That being said, this is my last slide here. This year's theme for the budget, and it's also in the budget message, is divest and invest, and you can read that. But to our citizens, we made a conservative effort this year to really get away from stuff that was wasting money, and at the same time, get away from things as far as aesthetics and make operational and functionality be a priority, versus aesthetics and maybe some feel-good stuff. Because right now, the goal is, over the 10-year plan that we discussed from the beginning, is to get the ship going the right way and address those things priority-wise first, and then move to other priorities as we fix the bigger priorities. So, like I said, we took a hard look at divesting away from certain things we've been doing. That's why we're doing the scheduling, the zoning, getting rid of some of the overtime, getting more efficient and things of that nature, and then reinvesting all that into the community and the workforce. So, again, I'm very proud of our directors who they really took that as a challenge, and they went and did it, implemented it, fixed some things out, and it's going to be better for our workforce and our citizens. And I think the citizens can feel the immediate impact right now. I get calls every day, back to the Facebook thing, my interaction with Facebook all day long about the great things that the workforce is doing, and the immediate interaction and response from our department heads, and not just a response on paper, but a response on presence. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to the financial director for his his briefing, and we're gonna go right into the all funds summary. Mr. Smith?
Thank you, Duke. I wanted to give a brief background with my experience here. You know, when I first got here, as city manager said, there was plenty of opportunities for improvement in the financial area. But one thing we were doing right before I got here, I had nothing to do with, was the budget. Was an active budget. The managers, the directors understood the budget. They went by the budget. They knew they only had so much to spend each fiscal year. And I was very impressed with that from the start. And now, to me, it's even better. I had some small departments that say, Greg, you just do my budget. I don't want to look at that. And now they're saying, Greg, how come you adjusted this number that I gave you? You know, those kind of questions. So, and that has nothing to do with me. It's, you know, that we got leadership, city manager, the department heads are just getting better. And I think the finance department is great at answering their questions when they have a question about where do I code that, what account do I code this to? So that the finance department, that's not me, is good about doing that. And when, you know, how do we do the budget? You know, there's a column here in the thick part of the book showing prior years. You know, we look at that. We certainly get input from the directors, and we look at things, you know, like cost of living increases, consumer price indexes, you know, the fuel prices going up, Georgia Power going up, those sort of things. And one thing this year we did that I'm proud of is we didn't finance a whole lot of things in the budget. Some of this equipment we're paying cash for it, so we're not having to pay interest and paying it over time. So I'm proud of that factor. To be honest, some years I'm like, we're gonna have to finance everything if we're gonna spend all this money on certain expense items. You know, we're just gonna have to finance everything. We can't pay cash for things, but fortunately, that we didn't have that this year. One thing that's changed this year is the workers' comp insurance has gone down thanks to the risk manager, Marissa. You know, she's been working those accounts, trying to get those old workers' comp cases settled and get off the books. That's the good news. The bad news with the insurance is property insurance. Property insurance has creeped up, and we call that liability insurance on the books, because liability insurance is in there. You know, when we have insurance on a police car or building, there's also liability insurance in there. So that's the terms that the city's been using for years there. As the city manager said, you know, this is not the finance department's budget. It's not city manager's budget. It's your budget, the city's budget. And these numbers are not in concrete. We can adjust them. Of course, now's the time to have questions, see if we need to adjust something. And it's hard to predict the future. You know, I can't predict the future. But all we can do is do a budget. The divisional directors, you know, they do the best they can. We try to predict what's going on by looking at existing data, looking, like I said earlier, looking at markets to see, you know, how we're gonna do that. The first page is 44 in our in your sheets, and I love the page numbers. I've done budgets for years, and it's hard for me to direct people how to get to a certain page by using accounting terms that they don't know what I'm talking about. But page numbers we understand. So looking at page 44, you know, it's all funds. As you can see at the top, you know, the biggest budget is the general fund at 19 million, and we're going to get more into that, but of course it includes fire department, police, and public works. The next three are really related. You know, the water bills, you could call them that, or utility billing. You know, they're them together, you see it's over 10 million, almost 11 million for all that together. And then one I wanted to point out at this point is ARPA. it's, well, it looks like 6 from the bottom, above the total. And I mean, the one reason I want to point it out, it's such a decrease. The city managers give us directions to try to spend all the ARPA money that we're supposed to, that we're obligated to, as soon as possible, because we've got to spend it for the purposes that we've decided upon. And the reason I put 75,000 in there, in case we don't get everything spent, this fiscal year, I want to put a number in there in case we went over and we spend it next year. But either it's just a timing thing. We're gonna spend it anyway. Is there any questions? Let me know.
We'll go to the commission now for questions. I'll start with District 1. No, sir. District 2.
So the 75,000 is going to need to be spent between now and next year?
But yeah, I put it in next year's, but even though we want to spend it before June 30th this year, if we do or don't, it's either way, it's fine with
We will
the
be
ARPA
okay.
regulations.
Okay.
But what I'm saying, if we don't spend it by June 30, we need to really spend it the next fiscal year. But we've already obligated this money, and this 75,000 is not a specific item. It's just like an overage if we don't spend it, all of it, that sort of thing. But we're headed towards spending all of it like we're supposed to, and why we're talking about ARPA, we're in compliance with those reports.
And understandably, I know that we were supposed to have it spent all by 2026.
Right.
Okay.
We
Right.
were told when we first started having our meetings earlier in the, I think it was 2023 at the end and early 2024, that we were supposed to have it all spent by 2026.
Right.
Otherwise, there could be a situation where they would claw it back from us.
Right.
And
Right.
then we would have to return other funding.
Right, and I've been doing the forms every year, and we got 2 more forms, annual forms to do to cover 26. But there's a place on the form if you owe us money, here's how much of course ours is 0, but here send us a check. That's what.
District 3.
Yes, ma'am, I have a question. This is just regarding all the funds
Yes.
that are awarded to the city.
Yes.
I noticed that we do receive funds every year from the Housing Authority, but there is no separate line item for those particular funds. So which project are those funds distributed in?
They're in the general fund.
So why are those funds going to the general fund?
One reason is the description on the book says in lieu of property taxes, and so it's as I'm thinking through it, it's in the general fund, just like which is where police, fire, public works is. They're getting some benefit from the money that they send us, and those are the benefits I'd say they are. It's not water and sewer. It's not any of the other funds. So that's the general fund is where it should go.
I have another.
What you just sound like you're saying is that it has been given to you a specific place it's supposed to be located, and that happens to be the location.
Right, and to me, it's logical with the way government funding works for it to be in the general fund. There's a definition in our handout of what a general fund is, and it could say it meets that definition.
Yes. So when these funds are awarded to the city, is there a reason why it is not presented in an open public forum so that the citizens are aware?
As far as the housing?
As far as, any funds that comes into the city? Because historically, when funds are awarded to the city, someone from that entity usually comes to the commission to do some form of a short presentation just to say that this particular organization has awarded the city X amount of dollars, so that the citizens are aware what fund that we have coming in.
So in the past, I'll put this in the same thing. It's the enterprise fund. Georgia Power, me and the mayor being representing the city, they present the checks to the mayor, and then we take those checks and we deposit them to the general fund, because the general fund goes to everyone, not a particular district. And like the director said, that's where it states that they should go. So there's no particular fund, like there's no Georgia Power fund. It's an enterprise fund. That's fine in definitions as aligned with GMA. So, and we've done that. The housing authorities came presented the last 2 years, and We done a post on that, took a picture. I think one time, with Georgia Power, the newspaper was there. So, and those are the main two. Although we got a couple more enterprise funds that provide enterprise checks that we do every year.
That's good.
Thank you. Just for point of clarification, I do not recall this particular check being presented to the city.
I don't either.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So last year, Commissioner, you asked about the housing. Why?
Yes,
You know, if do we make a change? I said, do we make a change? We got to. Do you want to? What we want to do with it? Whatever y'all want to do, we can do.
So the question, I'm not sure the question is, but just for clarity.
Yeah.
that's all it was for, Mayor, just for clarity.
Yeah.
So I
That's
think
it.
what we are making the public aware, and it's a public awareness thing, I think.
So last year we briefed that check particularly because it was asked why it shouldn't go one place. It should go to one district. And I explained then that goes to everyone, the general fund, because there's housing authority in all districts. That was that discussion. So it was discussed in a public forum to everyone.
Right,
So-
and I recall that.
Yes.
I think on the Lower Day, it said one given point when the entities that came in for that presentation, one happened to be, I think, an attorney.
Correct.
Who came in and talked to us. Attorney Jackson, if I'm not mistaken, when he came in and made a presentation and a conversation around the housing authority. So
Correct.
I understand exactly what you're saying, because they are in every district, the housing department. It's in districts 1, 2, and 3. I think that's where the housing is located. And there's a central office in district. It's in district. If I'm not mistaken. Right. So right across the street from Tebow Street. So what he was just basically doing now, I think, is just sharing with us that it's located in the general funds and it's distributed amongst those who are in it.
And yes, Mayor, I'm fully aware of that. Thank you.
Keep going.
Okay. Let's look at the next page. Let me write this down, sorry. The next page, the general fund summary. Where does the general fund revenue come from? And the biggest part is city taxes and license, and we've got a detail of that we're gonna cover too. But that's the biggest part is through taxes, including lost sales tax and license, as you see. And then the second half is expenditures, and that there's a typo that should be 19 million. There's a space in there. It's 19,136,529. The total general fund budget for the proposed budget for the year. And then the bottom half of the expenditures, the biggest is police, fire, and public works. Community improvements in there, engineering, they're all at least $1 million. Executive is over $1 million. We're gonna cover that. It's not just Duke's office. It's several departments, as you'll see in a few minutes. That's all I have on that one. But anytime you guys interrupt me, if you have any questions. The next page is salaries, and as you see in the upper left, it says 4% COLA. But Duke and I did not go into this budget saying we're going to get a 4% COLA. We used different scenarios, 0%, 4%, and it would be easy to tell what 2 and 3% was if we did 0 and 4. But after doing the whole budget, and it came out where the budget would balance using a 4% COLA. So of course that's favorable for our employees, and nobody can predict the future. We can't promise that every year, but as the commission has approved, that's our goal, to look at that every year.
I did have just a small conversation around this with someone earlier, and that was, I know back in 2022, there was a vote made, maybe 2021, a vote made by the commission that was sitting at that time for the increase for the commission. But we did not do the increase for a reason, I'm sure. even though it was publicized and put in the newspaper that it was a change after 40 years,
Yeah.
it wasn't done that way. But I just wanted to make that note, although this is done well, I just want to make sure that you are made aware that they did not increase anything.
Right, and I've seen that looking at recent history before I got here, that something may be been approved,
But
but
not
then
done.
but for financial reasons, they had to back off of it, that sort of thing. Then let's see, going to the next page, general fund.
I have a question.
Commissioner Fellow has a question.
Sure.
This is on page 46
Okay.
of the salary breakdown. I noticed that there was not a salary for the city clerk for the 2025 budget. Could you explain why?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's in the city manager's budget for the previous year. You see how his went down and hers went up, is one way to say it. We needed to keep track of her expenses and for her to have her own department. So it was a way to, a good bookkeeping thing besides a good budget practice to have it separate. So that's why it went up. The city manager's went down, hers went up. It's a simple way to say it, because it was previously in the city manager's budget. And I'm gonna go over that section's budget in a few minutes too.
Yes, thank
So
you.
if you've got any questions, please feel free.
Thank you.
Then going to page 47, believe me, I'm not gonna go over every page. These are the summaries. I promise I won't go over everything. Here's the general fund, and it has, this is, we talk about trends, it's on here. The biggest source of revenue for the general fund is the city taxes, and we'll go over that in just a few minutes. At the bottom part is the categories broken down. Again, police, fire are the big ones there. Any questions or comments?
No questions.
The next one is page 48, and this is the general fund revenue, and there's just a few items I want to point out, especially one, the local option sales tax is it's under the total city taxes at the section at the top part. And if you look at the far right where the numbers are, the biggest number is the top row, the current ad valorem taxes, 4.2, but the local option sales tax, I wanted to point that out. It's 3.9, almost 4 million. And I keep saying that's a way, local option sales tax reduces our ad valorem tax. I live in the city of Waycross, and it's on my tax bill. It shows a reduction in my tax bill. So, and again, this is a good way. I keep bringing out that the population of the city of Waycross doubles during the day. So that's a way for people that are commuting in or coming into the city of Waycross to go shopping. It's a way for them to pay for the services they provide. So that's a huge amount. And just today, Roger, the the tax commissioner, was asking me how much did we get lost last year, because I know he's working on the per diem. The property tax. Let me slow down. The property taxes for this coming year. So that's the main thing I wanted to point out there. The middle section, the liquor and wine, it went up a good bit because of us catching up on not going up for several years on that tax. It's all right, let's get the page 50, and this is the executive section. As you can see, I want to point out it includes several departments within the department, or in the executive section, first the mayor, then the commissioners, then several miscellaneous departments, including election, city attorney, and then the page 52 has the city manager. And as the notes to that say that at the bottom of the page 52 display, it says city manager department includes the city manager and the city manager assistant. So now it's just two people. We took Jackie, her department, out of there. Then page 53 is the city clerk. So as you see, there's a bunch of blank columns on page 53 because no history really on having her for that department separate. 54 is business integration department. And then that's all of the executive department. And then, unless is there any, I wanted to go on to water and sewer. I think it's page 81. Yeah, page 81 is the water and sewer department. The top line, you know, even though we plan to go up on water and sewer fees, the budget did not go up. When we did the budget for 2025, we were anticipating a possible increase in revenue, and of course that didn't happen. So, but I still feel good about the 2.5 million, looking at history and taking a percentage increase for volume and price increase. So that I still, you know, feel good about the 2.5. And then the sewer tap, we did go up there because of, again, the price increase, looking at prior experience. So I wanted to point that out. Of course, you know, going up on the revenue side, that means we can go up on the expense side and spend more funds for the water and sewer improvement.
And Ms. Mayor, if I can jump in real fast, just to highlight a recent event. So we know we did change out the transponder on the north side side of town. This is reflecting to meters. And the last 2 days, I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but it's been reading at a 7-8% rate. So you know that will take we got roughly about 600 to 800 meters right now. So if it continues what it's doing right now, we probably solved our meter problem. It probably was that transponder, and that means revenue will change again because all the meters will read as supposed to be. Probably if it gets to 85% like I'm projected to do, then that'll cut down that 1,700 meter requirement that I asked the commission to consider. I should know more about this at the next meeting, and I'll brief it then. It's still a good story that the transponder is even reading right now. So we do know what the problem was. It was that transponder. It took a couple years to get it here, but that's just something to think about at a later date when those rates come up. So it's actually going to help the citizens out because they'll know their true bill. Won't be an estimation, guesstimation, and then we'll put out further information on how to conserve water, much like Georgia Power does.
We were given a good report last week regarding how
Yes.
well the new transponder is coming in,
Yes.
and been a help to some of the citizens. So,
Yes.
on that. So, I think Commissioner Nelson.
That's about all I have. I'll just summarize, you know, that the divisional directors, the employees, managers of the city make this possible. Make my job a little easier to make the budget balanced. I even want to give credit whoever's idea it was to print on both sides of the paper. That's a cost. I'll take all the cost savings I did. That's all I have.
Good job.
Thank you so very much.
Good job.
And Mr. Mayor, I know we got a few minutes left. I think any members have any more further questions?
And I'll open the floor up for District 1. Did you have any questions?
No, sir. Thank you.
District 2,
No, sir.
District 3.
Yes, I have a question. This is referring to page 55 of the budget book. Under the notes, it says, general fund will receive 60% and the remaining 40% will be allocated for tourism. Previously, it was stated that tourism now falls under the Downtown Development Authority. Is that correct? As opposed to the City of Waycross? I've heard that mentioned several times in several meetings, so I'm asking for clarification.
The tourism still falling into the city. What do you ask, Commissioner? Can you give it to the downtown?
You answered the question. Thank you.
Okay. If there any further question, Mayor, I would just ask the commission, if you got any, anything you want to add, subtract, or take away, please let us know from this point up until we do the public budget hearing on June 3rd. We're going to update these books tonight. You see us a few numerical issues, spacing, stuff like that. I'm going to change that, and then like the finance director stated, we do have some revenue still coming in. So once we post this to the website, it will be updated, and for everyone in the audience, it's still pre-decisional because the commission has not voted on the budget. So all things are subject to change up until the budget is passed. So that document is not the final actionable document until the commission has voted and passed the budget. And it will be changing from day to day, not day to day, probably week to week, as additional monies come in, and we find any flaws, we review it ourselves a couple more times. And if the commission has any input they want to add, we'll make those adjustments with it.
Thank you. So listening to the conversation that we've had thus far, I want to thank the city manager and the team, the department heads, who have come alongside him to help create and craft this draft of a budget for us so that at least we have an opportunity to see the step-by-step process and also to incorporate our ideas and thoughts as to what we can do to either better ourselves and the community, and or to make it available to individuals who would like to have copies of this information. And I believe the city manager did make a note to us that a link would come out possibly in the next couple of days for individuals who would like to view this online.
Great.
And of course, this is very helpful to all of us. And then by the June meeting, we will have more information or some updates, hopefully, as the commission and or individuals who have other comments they want to add to the budget. So with that, do we need to do a last call, or do we need to go ahead and just adjourn and move into, we'll adjourn then. All right, so with that, I'll go ahead and adjourn this meeting so that you might take a water break and see what we can do in about 5 o'clock, okay? It is motioned, and there is a second. And all in favor, aye?
Aye.
And all opposed, no. And we're out. Thank you.
Mr. Smith.